Today, we're diving into a really fascinating way of looking at power in society. It's all based on some compelling research by Homeira Oroujzadeh, and it might just change how you see the world around you. It's a question we've all probably asked ourselves at some point. Who really pulls the strings? Is it the people we see on TV, the politicians giving speeches, the big-name CEOs? Or is there something deeper, something more invisible going on? Well, to get to the bottom of that, we're going to explore a new framework that works kind of like a magnifying glass for society. It helps reveal those hidden layers of power that shape everything. It's a model that really just cuts through the noise and gives us a clear map. So let's get into it. The core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. This model suggests that you can divide any society, anywhere in the world, into just 4 distinct power classes. That's it, just 4. And here they are. This framework organizes society into a kind of pyramid. Right at the very top, you have the Supra-selves. Below them are the insiders. Then come the semi-insiders. And finally, at the bottom, the outsiders. So over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what each of these means, starting from the very top. First up, we've got the architects behind the curtain, the Supra-selves. Now, this is the most powerful and, really by design, the most hidden group of them all. The source material uses this just brilliant phrase to describe them: invisible yet omnipresent. Just let that sink in for a moment. They are somehow everywhere and nowhere, all at the same time, and their influence is felt in the very air we breathe. So, what is a Supra-self, really? Well, think of them as the hidden architects. They operate completely outside of any formal structures. They're not just playing the game of power. They're the ones who designed the entire board and wrote the rules of the game in the first place. Think about those big, pervasive ideas that define what success looks like, or the unseen influence of powerful families that shape politics from behind the scenes. So how does their power actually work? Well, for one, they draw the lines. They're the ones who define what's considered permissible or unacceptable in a society. Their influence often flows through these hidden elite networks. And because they operate from behind the curtain, they are almost never held accountable for the world that they shape. Okay, let's peel back the next layer and see how this all connects. Let's meet the official power players, the insiders. Now, these are the people we're probably a lot more familiar with seeing in the spotlight. An insider is basically anyone who's accepted inside the formal circles of power. These are your politicians, your top media figures, your business leaders, the people who have direct access to resources, to key information, and all the perks and privileges that come with their position. They are the visible face of the establishment. So, what defines an insider? Well, they tend to be loyal to, or at least aligned with, the ruling structure. They are the ones who actively participate in making policy and running things. And in return for that, they get to enjoy the formal and informal support of the whole system that keeps them right where they are. Okay, this next category, this is where things get really interesting and, frankly, a little deceptive. Let's talk about the semi-insiders. Their whole deal is being present, but ultimately powerless. A semi-insider is someone who totally appears to be part of the scene. They might be in the room, they might even have a seat at the table, but they have zero real decision-making power or influence. They're included, but a lot of the time it's just for show. And here's the really crucial part, the illusion of influence. A semi-insider might be at that big meeting, and they might even believe that they're being influential. But when it comes down to it, they have no final say. Their presence is really a tool, something the system uses to legitimize itself and create this false picture of inclusivity. So let's just put them side by side for a second. On one hand, you have the insider, who has a real active role and actual influence. On the other hand, the semi-insider has a presence but no real power. The biggest difference is that one is a genuine player in the game, while the other is kind of used to create the illusion that the game is fair. It's a really critical distinction to make. And that brings us to the final group, the one at the very bottom of this entire structure. Let's talk about the forgotten margins, the outsiders. An outsider is anyone who is just completely excluded from these circles of power. Their voices go unheard, their needs are totally ignored, and very often, they're systematically deprived of basic rights and opportunities that others take for granted. This group is really defined by exclusion. It's like they're walled off from the centers of power. They are completely outside the circle of decision-making. Their voices just don't get heard, which leaves them on the absolute margins of society with no real say in its direction. They are, as the source puts it, the victims of systemic inequality. So let's just put it all together real quick. The super-self, they design the rules of the game. The insider plays the game and makes sure everyone else follows those rules. The semi-insider, well, they watch the game, and their presence creates an illusion of fairness. And the outsider, they are completely shut out from the game entirely. That's the whole power structure, right there. Okay, so we've got this map of power. We have these 4 categories. But why does any of this actually matter? What's the real takeaway for you and me? Well, its real value is that understanding these classes helps us recognize our own position inside the system. It gives us the language and the clarity to see the power dynamics that are playing out all around us, in our jobs, in our communities, in our countries. And this isn't just about observation. The source material actually ends with a pretty powerful call to action. The goal, it says, is to strive for change and avoid remaining in the roles of the semi-insider or the outsider. So it's really a framework for empowerment. Which leaves us with one final and pretty crucial question. Now that you have the map, now that you can see these hidden structures of power, where do you stand?